Well, it has been an exciting week for Jujutsu Kaisen fans. We're back for episode 52. Yes, I seen the controversy around episode 51 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I thought about making a video on it, but honestly, it's one of those situations where, from my perspective, I feel like it's engagement farming, and I feel like sometimes feeding into that is just not very useful. Yes, I looked into it. I found like 3 posts from Japanese users that were upset about, the tone and everything, that it felt like it took too much from the manga and that they are using too much creative freedom for it. It's really that argument of keeping close to the source material, going with the, panel by panel adaptation versus their own creative art, sort of enhancing it too much to the point where you're taking away from the original. And honestly, when I seen like 3 of those posts, and really a lot of people in Japan disagreeing with it, it came into one of those things where like, you guys are blowing this up into something that's not actually what it is. Like, you're acting like all of Japan hated the episode and that there's going to be some like outcry and that it's Chainsaw Man season 1 all over again. And I didn't see it. I just personally, from my perspective, didn't see it. Plus, I didn't really want to make a video because I'm not a source material reader. And so I'd be talking about things I have no clue about. And I'd be basically saying if I agree or disagree with people. It really comes down to that. But that's why I didn't cover it. It just felt like a more engagement farming and people falling for it. People clicking and hitting like and retweeting and talking about something that doesn't really exist all that much. And that's the unfortunate thing. But that aside, my opinions on episode 51 controversy aside, episode 52, I'm half and half on this episode. Like the beginning half of it, or the beginning segment of it around Masamichi and Panda, I wanted to like that segment, but at the same time, I felt like it was just so out of place and so fast. I kind of wanted more. I mean, getting into, of course, Masamichi and his ability, or what he kind of discovered about how to create these moving and self-sustaining cursed corpses. It was a very interesting little bit. I really did find a lot of this stuff really fascinating, and like the birth of these creatures and sort of how it works, eventually revealing that yes, it's his process of mimicking the soul and then putting it inside there, and it has to be like 3 souls at the same time that all have to like observe each other at the same time, and if they're not constantly observing each other, it will like fall apart. And that this whole segment where you have to kind of keep an eye on it for a while, which I'm guessing that's probably why he had Takaru there so long, was that he was making sure that it worked properly, I guess. But yeah, like this whole process that he's like concocted and figured out, and he's always kept it a secret because honestly, I feel like he was, and maybe he mentioned this previously, I would assume that he wanted to keep this a secret because he understands how dangerous it is. Like they even point out this stuff. When it opens up, they're literally saying, you have to tell us this whole secret and we can't let you go. You've somehow managed to create this thing and it's potentially extremely dangerous. He has the potential to essentially create an army. That's what they're afraid of. They wanted to designate him as a special grade because he could essentially create an entire army that could rise up against them. And that's the whole situation with Gojo. And like every single time they see something as a threat to their stability and their control, they're obviously going to squash it out. And they see him as a threat with the ability that they seemingly assume that he had at that point, which seems to be true. So it was a very interesting little kind of introduction into what he was able to do. It just felt like it was kind of out of left field. It was very quickly told, and then, yeah, Yoshinobu comes and takes him out. And I noticed I actually did look into the manga to see if it was the case there as well. It was just like so quick. It was like he's there, they're coming after him, they want to execute him. Once again, he points out the fact that, yeah, now that Soto's gone, you guys are getting really brave. You're all attacking people because you no longer have him to keep you in check. Because if you step out of line, you do something against his kind of wishes, he's going to come down upon you. So sure enough, now that he's gone, they come after him. They come to execute him. But they also do kind of give him, I kind of wonder if this was true or not. They do kind of give him an out there in the idea that if you do reveal your secret, that'll keep you alive. And he's like, no, ain't going to happen. And then again, Yoshinobu, cut, dead. Cut, and he's defeated. And it was like, wait, are we not going to see this fight? We're not going to see how this plays out? It's just literally done and he's defeated? I guess the assumption's there that he was going to get defeated just because he didn't have any cursed corpse with him. He literally went out there by himself, which makes me kind of wonder why he did that. And I probably because he didn't want them harmed, but still, just goes out there by himself, done like that. It felt anticlimactic. It just felt so anticlimactic to build up to this, tell his backstory, how he was helping out people, how he reunited Kusakabe's nephew to his sister. They reveal all that stuff, and then he just gets defeated. Again, it feels kind of out of place as well, because you literally had like the previous episode having Maki and the whole thing with Zenin and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to follow this up with the whole Fight Club and Hakari and all that kind of stuff. It felt weird. That aside, though, in his final, moments, telling Yoshinobu all that secret about how he's able to create these cursed corpses and how they're self-sustained and essentially gain that self-awareness and everything like that, it was very interesting. But again, I like how he says it to him as a curse. I did kind of find that very clever. He's like, why wouldn't you say this earlier? It could have saved your life. It could have kept you alive. I said it as a way of cursing you. I did find it a little bit sad having Panda come up there, find him dying. Doesn't raise a hand to Yoshinobu, even though he thinks he's going to. He's like, no, that's not what pandas do. And I want you to know that pandas cry. And then you have that little cry. I feel bad. I didn't really get teary-eyed or anything like that. Again, similar to the whole situation with Mai and Maki. I don't really have too much of an emotional connection to a lot of these characters, but it was still sad. Again, I found a lot of the stuff around the cursed corpses and stuff like that really fascinating. It's just, unfortunately, again, I think it feels a little bit out of place right here. At the same time, this is where it kind of fits in the whole story, so I'm not really sure where else they would put it. I think it is sort of out of order in the manga, but I think it's just before the Zenin clan thing, I think. Anyways, that aside, the rest of the episode is pretty much the setup for Hakari, which I think he had a really solid introduction. Of course, having Yuji and Megami go there, again, to the whole Fight Club thing. Nobody talks about Fight Club. You're not supposed to talk about Fight Club. That's part of the rules. Eventually getting Yuji in there, Yuji going in to fight Panda. I love the fight with Panda. I did feel like after a while, I'm like, I don't think you really have to emphasize the fact that they're taps. Like, at some point we get it. At some point we get it. But it was cute, just flying around and just tap, 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 tap. And then constantly the entire time, Panda's doing the worst freaking acting ever. Oh my gosh, those blows, they hit me so hard. Yuji's like, man, you're terrible at acting. It was dorky. It was an absolutely dorky little bit there. Eventually, yes, Yuji does such a great job with his performance. Hakari actually likes it, so he decides to bring him in. And they already implied before they even get there that, yeah, Hakari knows. Like, he knows that they're up to something, they're doing something. Just the question is if they're coming there to get him or whatever, if they were sent there. But yes, that whole scene with him, really cool little scene. I like how they actually portray that. At some point, I'm like, wow, they're not really going to change the camera perspective, are they? They're going to keep it to this, locked into this. But it was still great because typically with a lot of shows and a lot of animations, when you have like a shot that is kept like that, it's like just nothing but lip flaps. No, like the entire scene was just very well put together. Like constantly the characters moving around, that subtlety and the expressiveness that they move around and whatnot, the fidgeting, whatever. It was really well done. I really liked it. But Hakari himself, interesting little individual. He brings up initially that, yes, hey, what if I told you can make this much money in a month, and I'll tell you if you give me this much? Immediately, Yuji knows it's a lie. Yeah, somebody knows how to make millions of dollars. Why would they sell that to people? Why would they, have to, get some sort of money in that value from somebody? It's obviously a scam. Every single time you say, get rich, just buy my program. It's a scam. It's an obvious thing. But then he gets into the stupidity of people and why they do it, and it's because of passion. They have a passion for something that will change their life, and often that comes in the realm of, yes, gambling. People gamble, even though they do lose a lot, because they have that passion for it changing themselves in a significant way. And he does acknowledge the idea that society itself is always, even if you're not doing like actual gambling like a slots or whatever, life itself is a gamble. Every individual in society is always gambling with their life, and society itself always throws out those that can't bet big. People that don't try to take risks or whatever end up just kind of staying to the norm and just getting snuffed out. Passion is gambling is life, and love is control. His idea, his desire for his future that he wants is this idea that this thing that he's doing currently, which is having these sorcerers fight and everything like that, he wants to bring this mainstream. He wants everybody gambling on this because it makes him excited. It's something that he just loves. And so where we get into sort of where I'm kind of questioning if they can even recruit this guy. He gets into the idea that with existence of curses going public and headquarters being able to barely function, it's going to give him his chance to expand his business and bring it to the public, get it big, have everybody sing it, everything like that. So he wants to get his fight club publicly recognized as they're doing all these revisions. So that goes into my whole like concern here of like, yeah, the reason why all this is happening is because of everything that's unfolded over the last, like, again, this entire season. Everything's kind of crumbling right now, and the people that are trying to keep it, you know, fixed and get it back into order is Yuji and everybody that he's working alongside. So Yuji and them seem like they are a counter to what Hakari wants. Now, granted, the way they can sort of get around that is saying that they're in the gray area. Like they said when they first got there. They're not working for Jujutsu Kaisen. They're in the gray area. That's probably where they can sort of work with them, saying, hey, this bad thing's happening and we kind of need your help with it. It's not about this. It's about keeping people from getting ascended right now. That could probably be the way they work around it. But like, at the same time, I think they're probably going to have to appeal to this whole passion thing. It just feels like this guy is so obsessed with his passions that that's probably where it's going to work at. But either way, that seems to be his whole thing there. But then unfortunately, yes, he gets a phone call. And whenever he gets a phone call from Kirara, that typically is going to be because something's up. So whatever that is, the question mark, I don't know if she has the ability to sense Yuji, or if it could be what Panda and Megumi was talking about, that when he finally gets in there, they're going to attack in order to allow them to be able to talk a little bit longer. And maybe that's why he's being signaled. Either way, yeah, he goes up and gets his drinks. You want a drink? No, I don't drink. I'm too young, whatever. So yeah, this Gojo guy, he's not really good at holding his liquor. Who's Gojo? Bro. They did say that he's terrible at lying. He's a terrible liar. He wouldn't even try to lie. He just wasn't even going to go there. It's like, everybody knows who Gojo is. The Gojo clan? Kind of important. Satoru Gojo, this guy that literally everybody's keeping in place when he's around. This guy that's like, this whole fiasco is really around the fact that he's been, you know, prisoned up and acting crazy because they no longer have him to fear. That guy it's so dorky. Like, why are you feigning ignorance, dude? Were you sent by them? Just starts throwing stuff at him. Interesting, got a little bit of a glimpse of, I don't know if that's going to be like his special technique or whatever, but yeah, he's like closing doors on him. So that was kind of interesting. Like every time he does this, it's like these doors just appear and try to, I guess, pincer Yuji in some way. I did a little slowdown. It looked like one of them sort of got Yuji for a brief moment, but then he kind of slipped out of it. But crazy stuff. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 52 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Really, again, I'm a little mixed on the first part of it, even though it was a really good little segment there. Very interesting stuff around the cursed corpses and whatnot. But I feel like it was a little bit too... just feel like it was a little too quick. Like I almost wanted an entire episode on it, just kind of build into it. But it seems like it was pretty close to the manga, so they didn't really expand it, which I guess is a good thing for some people. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, want to support the channel more, become a member. Until next time, you'll take care.